Hi everybody, it's Kate and I am here in Willow Creek looking at, I think it's called, Riverside Roost. I've decided to start getting into these challenges, and yes, I've done some challenges where I stay in a budget. Yes, I've done some challenges, with all one color. I did the dollhouse thing a few years back, but I have never attempted a timed challenge like a house in 10 minutes, a house in 30 minutes. And this was my attempt. Major fail, as you'll see later. But I put the timer on for 30 minutes, and I will show you on the video when that first 30 minutes elapsed. But yeah, it turns out it's extremely hard, and mad props to, Lil Simsy and Plumbella and everybody that I've seen do a really speed build challenge. It's hard is what I learned from this experience. Anyways, here I am at the Riverside Roost, playing around the architecture. I really did want to keep the main portions of the architecture. And I say that loosely because in real life, if you were to change roofing on a building, it would be a major architectural ordeal and major construction undertaking. Nonetheless, I thought I'm going to renovate this in 30 minutes. So here I go. I'm trying to fix it up. And when I was first looking at the property and the way that it faces the river and the way that it faces the street, it felt like the original house wasn't really giving enough credit to the river side of the house, which is, I think, the side that you would want to spend the most of your time in. So here I am, pulling and pushing walls and roofs and seeing, this could actually go modern potentially. And so here I go, diving into those waters and thinking, this is going to be great. Here we go. We're going to enjoy this riverside and we're going to modernize this place, because all of these homes are like these very, I don't even want to call them traditional. They definitely have a style, but it's not my style. And I wanted to try something else. So here I am trying to get some great outdoor spaces. I know that Willow Creek does get a lot of snow if you are a seasons player. However, I just felt like, gosh, this is the river. You've got to celebrate your big asset here. So let's put a lot of the house and a lot of outdoor space on the river side of the property, and using the fencing that came with Eco Lifestyle. And I've never found an appropriate build to use those in. I have tried many times because it kind of looks cool, but it's also annoying in gameplay that you have, a really tall fence that doesn't go down when you are trying to put your walls down and actually see your space. So that was an interesting thing for me to use. I'm not used to using that kind of thing. And yet I think it looks really nice in this particular build. I also used those new awning pieces that came with, what was it called? Desert Luxe. And I was able to get it while it was free because I was already a game owner, and I'm just so tickled that it was free. I think Lil Simsy said it really well in one of her videos recently, that the Desert Luxe kit was so exciting and so awesome, and we all loved it so much when it was free. Now that it's not free, it's like, did we only like it because it was free? And I think that, that's just such a good, honest way to think about it. I still really think I'd like it. And oddly, it's not for like the couch and the grill and all those things. It's for those more architectural details like this awning that I decided to use here. Or for example, I really like some of the windows that came in that. And the kits are a hard one to swallow because not only are they $5 for a small amount of items with no gameplay, if you aren't counting Dust the Bus, which I don't think any of us are, the thing that really makes them hard to justify, I think, is that you only get a couple of windows, or you might get one window and one door. And then it's really hard to make an entire build that looks believable, like, hey, an architect went out and designed this, when you only have those few things. Now, what's fun about that is that's actually a cool challenge is, can I build a house using only one door type and one window type? Maybe that's what I need to do next. So that is I think the real what is it called, shortcoming of the kits is you get enough to get excited about, and then when you actually try to do like a build with your kit, it's kind of difficult especially if it's really stylized, like the oh gosh, I don't even remember, it was like the Moroccan style architecture. If you only have a few items in a very specific style, it's really hard to make an entire build cohesive with that. I guess that encourages creativity too, that you don't have to be cohesive necessarily. Anyway, I think the Desert Luxe kit is a good one in my opinion, and wow, that was a ramble. It was a good ramble though. I'm feeling good about it. So I'm finally getting into the interior. I started to feel like the architecture on the outside was jiving with my vision, and so I just decided to start putting things down without doing walls. I don't actually do that frequently. I'm pretty good at sizing up a room to think or see if it can fit all of the elements that I want it to fit. I can have like a minimum in my mind, like the bare minimum for a bedroom with a double bed is 4x4. That's the amount of grid space that I need. I don't know, I'm pretty good at visualizing that part. However, this time I didn't do it. I didn't just like box out a bunch of rooms. I started with the architecture, and so I got this idea that, I want this to be modern, and it could have almost a little bit of an old world style to it. And this is where I start going into the arches, and you can definitely find very modern, beautiful archwork in interior design and in architecture today. However, I felt that in this build, this kind of gave it more of a tangible, warm, old familiar feeling to it, having these arches in. And I think I'd end up changing the colors later of those. And then here I just decided to close that whole kitchen off. I didn't really know what I was going to do with the back part of the house yet. And at this point I still don't think I've decided. It does end up becoming a bedroom back there, and a little library space. So I did close up the kitchen, and I'm still fumbling around with what do I want to do with the countertops. I thought this was kind of cool because you know how awkward it is if you want an island that is like a seating space with a bar top on one side and then just countertop space on the other. The end pieces, those corner pieces that were provided with the casework packages they don't align. I don't know if any of them are aligned. I'll need to check, but every time you try to use like an outside corner piece of a bar and then an outside corner piece of a kitchen counter, they don't line up with each other, even though you want them to be on the same island. So what I ended up doing was I wrapped around the bar with, the extra deep counter. I aligned the bar all the way around to the front side, and then I just kind of let it cut itself back to put in that, I think I put the sink and the dishwasher in there. We'll see it again later. Here I was thinking I should put a fireplace, and I am all about the realism. I can't help myself. So I thought, man, I really want to put a vent to the outside. And that other vent that you see on the top is actually trying to think of a space that the hood for the kitchen might float out. Although now that I'm looking at the space, that was not the right side of the house to put it on. It should really be on the riverside also. Wanted to use those big solid wood doors. I think those are also eco lifestyle for the front of the house, and they just look like wealth. And so once I put those doors in, it really inspired like the rest of the color scheme for the interior. You can see now I'm starting to put in like the really earthy green that's a little dark. I wouldn't call it dark green, but it's a nice earthy green. And that front door inspired it. I thought, gosh, what a big, beautiful pair of wood doors. And again, I'd already put the arches in. I was like, let's make this a really warm, cozy, modern space with the, obvious asset of the river outside. And so I think that the Japanese Mount Komorebi fireplace that I'm using here really also helps aid that style too. It's just, it's a very minimal and yet it's also very humble. So I was happy with that. Here I am trying to figure out what kind of furniture. This is a couch. This is the couch from the Desert Luxe kit. So putting together a little bit of a living room. I think I also dropped in, yes, okay, the countertop, or the coffee table. I wanted this to look almost rustic. Like it needed to look luxurious, but it needed to be big for that living room. And it needed to be earthy also. And if you all remember, this was so many years ago. I say so many. I mean, it was like 4 years ago, I would guess, when we got the free update in The Sims 4 for, I think it was like a Caribbean-inspired. So please excuse me. I thought I saw something in the video while recording this audio that was not correct. Like I thought my video messed up. So I just had to pause, take a look, try to investigate a little bit. I don't think there was actually anything wrong. I think I just flubbed. This is that super cool little library office space. Also really managed to achieve it feeling cozy and like a very relaxed place. Imagine if you have a job where you can work from home. I have that luxury. This is a great space to work from home. You can just imagine like your cat coming up and laying on the counter next to your computer and having that view out the window with you. Put a little chess table in the corner too. I tried to sneak in a little bit of skill building here and there throughout this build, but I really think I could have gone more. The little bathrooms, I realized I didn't have a little half bathroom for just anybody to use when they're hanging out in the kitchen or the living room. So I snuck that in off of the library. That's a little weird if you think about it in real life, like having to send somebody all the way through, almost to the back of your house and through a few rooms to get to that. But, I'll be honest, if I had this house, I think I'd want to show it off. So I would just say, yeah, why don't you just make your way through the grand arches and it'll be in the office on your right. This is a huge bedroom. I really could have made 2 bedrooms out of this. I could, you could make a lot of different types of spaces, a crafting space back here, because I also have a bedroom up on the 2nd floor. But this was a lot of fun to have such a large bedroom. And I really tried to stay minimal on clutter and minimal on, just the stuff, the art, which is a little unlike me. I mean, again, I already started this build trying to get out of my comfort shell with doing a timed build, and here I am in the third set of 30-minute timers that I set. So I'm over an hour now into building this. But I let it keep going. I didn't panic. Trying to love myself. This front is really grand. And again, I really tried to let myself be satisfied with minimal aesthetic and not just clutter up the whole thing, because I very much love clutter. And I did actually use the new clutter kit. But you'll see it's just a couple of items here and there. Here I am looking at it at night, trying to decide on lighting. That is from the fitness stuff pack, I think, from years ago. Very nice though. And now I'm also putting some of those little lights that came with Desert Luxe around the build. They do a very beautiful job uplighting the exterior architecture. So I placed those around, and then here where I have that other big tall gable, I placed another one of those fitness lights to kind of match the front. Can you imagine being on, well, this is another luxurious thing, but can you imagine being on a boat on the river and you start drifting by this house? Oh man, I would just be, I don't know, that would just be awesome. I would be really into that. I would be taking pictures of it, and then I'd send them back to my husband and be like, hey, this is the house that I want. Here I'm trying to decide if maybe, what do these called, a frieze? Trying to decide if that would be appropriate here. None of them are really modern enough. Even the simple frieze that comes with, is it Seasons? It still has a 45-degree sort of side support that hits each column as you place a frieze. And it's just not quite simple enough to pass for a house of this style. It's architecture and design is so interesting, how specific all of the little nuances of each one are. They're actually extremely similar to each other. You could probably very easily draw comparisons between like a Craftsman and a Victorian, even though, if you know what those are, and if you go Google them right now, you'd be like, oh no, those are definitely distinctly different design styles. You'd be right, and you'd still be able to draw a lot of comparisons. So there's just subtlety, and couldn't find a frieze that was reaching or achieving the subtlety that I was hoping for here. Again, these are the Desert Luxe. I totally think that bag's worth the $5. It's so good. These curtains have really changed the game for a lot of builders in The Sims. Because just, look at that. It's wild just how bad the curtains have been in the game. And, the modders and the tools mod and all that stuff have really created some great things to get around it. And it's just nice to not have to install a mod. I think this is when I start putting in the clutter. Yeah, those are those dirty coffee mugs. Oh my God, so good. And there's the water bottle. And I put one more thing. Oh, I think I put the plates from Komorebi. I always put those in my build. It's wild that we've never had just a set of plates in our build before. There I set the phone with the keys down as if a friend just walked in and set their things down. Just checking out clutter, what's going to be appropriate. And, here I am. I kept getting stuck on the new clutter items. Oh, how many swatches do we have on this? And it was like, hey, you're in the kitchen. Go to your kitchen standards, and, let's cover those bases first. Unexpectedly, I put a lot on the wall behind the stove here. Then the little Dutch oven that came with Cottage Living. And, oh yeah, I did scale it down because it doesn't quite look like it fits on that burner. And then I realized that I did not have an actual oven. I just had the range part. So I popped in that oven next to the fridge, which is not ideal. And we do have enough space for me to rearrange it. But at this point, I was committed. I just took out that can light that I popped in every room just to get some lighting, and did some more bedroomy lighting with those they look like plants, but they're little light fixtures. But this is what it ended up looking like, and I hope you enjoyed this. And I think I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm not as good at maneuvering inside the builds as most. As you can see, this is hectic. But thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.